Fire departments were called to put out a large fire that hurt 2 firefighters today.
Crews worked to put out the fire at a dry wood facility. TV20's Taylor Bird tells us how company employees helped the injured firefighters.
The fire ignited at Southern Fuelwood. It occurred on a large property with several warehouse buildings used to dry firewood for sale. 2 firefighters were injured when a 20-foot manufacturing door fell on top of them. Chief Harold Diaz says the door was so heavy the firewood employees had to come help.
The employees here used a forklift. You imagine the door is very hot. The firefighters were in their full bunker gear. They're in all their protective clothing, thank goodness. They took a forklift to lift the door off of the firefighter where he had to be pulled out by his other firefighters.
One is a Newberry firefighter and the other is an Alachua County firefighter. Chief Diaz says both were taken to UF Health and are recovering. One will undergo surgery. Fires have burned at this location in the past, however, nothing this dangerous.
Yes, we've been out here a couple of times for these types of fires. This has been the most significant fire that I can remember that we've had out here, and especially with the injuries, it really just magnifies to us the danger involved in this type of firefighting.
Meanwhile, a fire crew will remain on site to make sure the fire stays contained. In Newberry, Taylor Burr, TV20 News.